Alright guys, so the official Xbox account on Twitter hit us with this little tease for the Xbox Game Showcase this year, which is on June 11th, of course, and then of course after that we've got the Starfield Direct. But they hit us with this little tease, and a lot of people are thinking that it is a tease suggesting that the new Fable will be at this showcase. Now, I'm going to throw out my suggestion for what this tease might be, and it does look like Fable, but I'm going to say that I don't think it's the new Fable. I think it might be something else. So let's get into the video. Okay, guys, so like I was saying, whenever everybody saw this tease from the official Xbox account, we all just kind of jumped to the conclusion that it meant that, hey, we're going to see Fable, the new Fable, at Xbox's showcase. And I gotta be honest, I thought that too. And hey, maybe that's the case. Maybe Fable will be there and we will see it. And if it is, then I'll be ecstatic. But I don't think that that's exactly what this specifically is teasing. And don't get me wrong, guys, I think it's teasing Fable. I just don't think it's teasing the new Fable. And let me just explain myself really quick with this. There's been a rumor going all the way back to what seems like the beginning of the generation for Xbox, where people have been saying there is a game collection in the works at Xbox. In a similar vein to what we saw with, Halo MCC, where it's all the Halos, pretty much besides Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, shoved into one game. And everybody, myself included, just kind of assumed that this meant, hey, they're working on probably a Gears of War collection. Gears 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe you can just shove 5 in there as well. And of course that would help with, multiplayer, because a lot of people love the original trilogy's multiplayer. People enjoy Gears 5 multiplayer, people enjoy Gears 4 multiplayer, but not nearly at the same level as the first 3. So that would obviously help multiplayer, and then you would have it all in one condensed game, as opposed to having to jump from game to game to game to game to play each individual multiplayer. I think that would be a really good idea. And then of course this obviously helps with primarily PC players, because if you're playing on PC, then you can't play Gears 1, 2, and 3. You can really only start at Gears 4 and then go to Gears 5. And everybody has a lot of nostalgia for Gears 1, 2, and 3. It makes sense to package those together, bring it to PC so that people can play it the way they prefer to play it. And so you're probably thinking, well, that sounds like a great idea, right? And it does sound like a great idea. But I'm going to give you something that I believe to be an even better idea, and something that you could argue is even more useful than that for Xbox. And that is a Fable collection. Now, I want you guys to think about how you play the Fable trilogy right now, or how you would play it if you wanted to play it right now. You load it up on your Xbox console. There's FPS boost on Fable Anniversary, and then you have the original Fable 2 with all of its greatness and all of its flaws. You've got the original Fable 2 with no FPS boost. Then you've got Fable 3 with FPS boost. Now I want you to think about how that compares to, the original trilogy of Gears of War on Xbox Series S and X consoles. With Gears of War 1, you have the FPS boosted remake slash remaster. Still sits at 1080p, but it does look amazing and it runs great on Series S and X. Gears of War 2 and 3, however, are a little bit different and a little bit more intriguing, because on Series X, Gears of War 2 is 4K 60, Series X, Gears of War 3 is 1440p 60, I believe, and then on Series S, it's 1440p 60 and then 1080p 60 for Gears of War 2 and 3 respectively. Even the original Gears of War 1, the 360 version, is FPS boosted on Xbox Series S and X consoles. So my point here really is that no matter what you do on Series S and X, you can play Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 at 60 FPS. And they look great at the same time. And now let's shift our focus to PC for Fable, because if you want to play any of the Fable games on PC, you can really only play Fable 1. And there's two different methods to this. You can play Fable Anniversary, or you can play Fable The Lost Chapters. Essentially, both are just Fable 1 with some extra content added onto it. And if you want to play Fable 2 and 3 on PC, well then you just can't. And this is why I think a Fable collection makes even more sense than a Gears of War collection. because it's beneficial to both PC and Xbox. Because like I said, on Xbox, if you want to play Fable 2, which is the most beloved game in the series, then you're doing it at 30 FPS and with motion blur that looks like this. Now, that doesn't mean that the Fable Collection is going to be at the showcase. That doesn't mean that the Fable Collection even exists. Just because it makes sense in my head doesn't mean that it's going to happen in real life, obviously. And it also doesn't mean that if it is in development at Xbox, that they also can't then work on a Gears of War collection alongside of it. I would assume this would be two different studios doing it, so why wouldn't that be possible? Just for me personally, I would much rather see a Fable collection than I would rather see a Gears of War collection. I also think the Fable collection makes a lot more sense considering the fact that, you know, there is a new Fable announced. Obviously, we know that at some point we're getting Gear 6. We also can probably just assume that Coalition is working on Gear 6 right now, and hey, who knows, maybe we see some sort of teaser at the show for it. I don't think so, but you know, anything's possible, I guess, right? I mean, I think back to that announcement trailer for Fable's reboot at the 2020 showcase for Xbox, and I ask myself, does everybody know what Fable is? Because this could be entirely wrong, but I just imagine that most people on Xbox, like 90% of people, probably have heard of Gears of War. Now, they might not like it might not be for them, that's totally fine. But I would imagine most people playing on an Xbox console have seen at some point Gears of War. I mean, think about it. We just got Gears 5 in what? Was that 2018 or 2019? I want to say it was 2019 we got Gears 5. We just got Gears 5 not too long ago, so it's still kind of fresh in people's minds. Whereas you think about Fable, when was the last Fable we got? What was that, 2010? It was like at the start of the Kinect era for Xbox 360. That's like a whole generation of people playing on Xbox that might not even know that Fable exists, honestly. And what better way to introduce all these new people to the Fable series than say, hey, we got all the Fables fully remastered for the new consoles, available in one package, and it's going into Game Pass. That would be the perfect thing to introduce anybody to the Fable series to get them excited for the Fable reboot. I mean, for me personally, I've beat Fable 1. I really enjoyed my time with that game. I hopped into Fable 2. I tried playing it. It's better gameplay wise, like it is just better. It's a lot more fun, it's a lot more interesting than Fable 1. The problem with that game for me was the motion blur. It wasn't even the 30 FPS with that game. It was the motion blur. It physically stopped me from wanting to play the game because it actually hurt my eyes. And I'm somebody who doesn't really complain about motion blur. I don't really notice motion blur too often. It doesn't affect me like it does a lot of people. But the motion blur in that game was atrocious. And then as for Fable 3, I don't want to hop into Fable 3 when I haven't even beaten Fable 2, so I haven't beaten Fable 3 either. So if they can remaster all of those games, I would have no issue starting all the way back at Fable 1 and going through the series. I would love that. I mean, if Xbox were to do a Fable collection, it would kind of work both ways for them, because obviously you're helping introduce a whole new generation of people to the Fable series, which is obviously beneficial for your Fable reboot, which is going to be coming this generation. But then on top of that, you're also reigniting a love for the series for a lot of people who played the games long ago. And granted, I'm not a game developer or publisher, but it seems like that would be a win for Microsoft all around. But leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. In fact, I want to know, what would you rather have between a Gears of War collection or a Fable collection? Leave that comment down below. Leave a like if you like the video. And if you're enjoying this kind of content and you want to stay up to date with it going forward over here on the channel, the best way to do that is consider subscribing, consider ringing the notification bell, because it helps you stay up to date with everything that happens over here on the channel, and it helps promote the videos and the algorithm, helps push me farther, helps me get more views, and I really do appreciate that. And with that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.